Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh and I'm here with Gretta and Yvonne, and as always, the Realm. We are also joined today by some special guests. We are very excited and always happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes you may ask yourself, what's happening in my life? What am I doing? And, why are these things showing up right now? We would like these conversations to help you examine your life and what you're creating in it. So welcome to Shifting Impressions. Let's get started this morning. We have not done a live podcast in a few weeks, and we are back live. So it's really nice to be with everyone today and our special guests. If this is the first time you're listening to the podcast, we always talk about a quotation that Gretta has downloaded from the Realm. And today, our quotation is, "Change is a pathway to your expansion and expression of consciousness." So before we start to take that apart, Gretta, if you would be so generous as to introduce Kathleen and Carol to the listeners for us.
Oh yeah, these are two wonderful, wonderful women that have been with me for quite a while, both of them. And they are so knowledgeable in this. You'll see as we go on and we deal with the connection. Kathy has been a teacher. She's also been on a television program in Philadelphia. She's done a myriad of works. In reference to what we're doing today, she's also a transformational specialist. And that means that she does the same work that I do. Now, Carol, oh, I love me some Carol. Both these women have cats, by the way. So if there's anybody out there that loves cats, okay, get with these two women. But, Carol, I find Carol fascinating because she's always teaching me about existence, and she's always teaching me, well, did you hear about the star system out in so and so and so and so place? And I said, no, what's that? So we're going to have an interesting discussion with her because she brings up all this stuff, about, and she's the one that I have to, when we have class, I'll ask a question, and I know that Carol knows the answer, so I have to tell. I said, don't say anything, Carol. Mouth shut, don't say anything. So both these women are highly knowledgeable. Carol's been in business for herself and worked in businesses with other people to support other businesses. So I'm just excited. And, and I am truly excited to be back because I was gone. It's been 4 weeks, and later on,
Yes.
sometime in January, we'll unpack what happened to me, but we're not going to do that today. But I'm going to turn this back over to Leigh, and I'm just so glad to be with Kathy and Carol.
And we're happy to
Thank
be
you for inviting us.
Thank you, Greta, for that introduction. And ladies, welcome today. And I would like to thank the listeners for bearing with us when we had our little recuperation phase. We had a lot of repeat episodes the last few weeks. So we hope that you reheard and one of the podcasts and you got something that maybe you didn't hear the first time. That something like a good book, when you reread it, you find some other nugget of information. So this week, ladies, as I expressed earlier, the quotation is, change is a pathway to your expansion and expression of consciousness. Where shall we begin?
I think first, this discussion is just going to, everybody's going to chime in. But I think there are two things that we need to look at. And I know Kathy and Carol, before we came on, started talking about, you know, the deepness of this quote. It sounds so simple, but yet it's so deep. One of the things that I feel that we need to clarify and make sure that everybody's on the same path as we are, and that is to define change. You know, what is change? And then also to define what is consciousness. If we can,
Good place to start, Greta.
yeah, change. What is change? What does change mean? Because there are 5 of us today, so each one of us could come up with something different. We could come up with the same thing or whatever. So, but I think change is important for us to deal with.
To me, I would interpret change as evolving and growing and being open to receiving new knowledge and shifting your impressions, as you guys have been talking about all the time.
Okay. Yvonne, what are you thinking? Because I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty much lined up. I see change as something that happens that's different.
This is a good way to initiate changes that you want to create your reality to be.
Yeah, it's something that helps you grow. You make a different choice basically than what you're doing, and it sets you on a different path. Could be, you know, just people like to define things as good or bad, but it just is different from my perspective. You know, it's just a different something, you switch it up. Yeah.
So you're saying it's not, so you're saying there's no attachment of
good or bad, you know? Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
growth, you know, it's just growth into something that, you know, when you look at a plant, you see a lot of change as from the time that you put the seed in the ground, you know, by adding different elements, water, good soil, sunshine, that seed will sprout and eventually grow step by step and bear fruit. And so that is a good metaphor for actually looking at change. That little seed, that little plant is constantly growing and changing. And as humans, I believe we're on that same path.
Of total
Changing and growing.
constant will change. So we never stop changing. Is that
No.
what you're saying? We're in a
Correct.
constant state of change.
Yeah.
Could you repeat what you said change was for you, Carol?
I look at it as a form of evolving and growing and being open to receiving knowledge that would enlist you to make decisions on how you want to change and create your reality to be what you want it to be.
Okay, so you're not attaching to something's good, something's bad.
No, I think that's all judgment and perception.
Mhm. Kathy, what do you
It
think?
has to
No,
go.
no, I absolutely concur with that. And you know, when I think of change, you know, it's ongoing. If you're lucky, you're creating the changes that 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 you knowingly want to I don't know how to say that, how to experience it. I guess for me, you know, it's, do I want to say it's inevitable, or is that limiting what change is? You know, I don't know. You know, there are proverbs, you know, the more things change, the more things stay the same. And I don't even know if that's kind of true to me anymore. They're all beliefs, you know, that I've had. What I was looking, and I think was thinking about this, I was looking at, have I changed, and how do I know that I've changed? And what I can say is that the more I've learned about, piggybacking on what Carol said, my creation of reality, the more I can see the changes in myself, because what I'm creating is presenting itself to me. And sometimes it's stuff I like, sometimes it's stuff I say, oh, good God, you know, what did I do here? Like just a quick thing. The other day, on my way to the doctor's, and when I got there, I forgot my med list. And this guy was kind of irate. He was up there, didn't have his cards and everything. So I was talking, and he turned around and he said, I can't hear you because that chick over there is talking too loud. No, just no, you can say too loud. That chick over there is talking. And the old me would have said, I probably would have shrunk. I would not have defended myself. The new me, because I said, well, you created for this man to say this to you. The question is, why did you do that? So the new me created for the other women that were in the office to say, there are women here. We're not chicks. But when I was driving home, I remember what I was thinking about going there. I said, you know, I was watching, listening to the news, they were talking about racism and, you know, stuff like that. The white supremacists have been convicted or whatever you want to call them. And I said, that thought created what happened to me in that place. But to get to the changing part, I don't think I would have recognized that I created for that experience. I wanted to experience that, which means that's a deep change for me, because I could have gone straight up, you know, as we say in the community, straight up, you know, to another whole different level. But because I saw this gentleman, I didn't get angry, because I could have gotten angry. And I was able to control that. And to me, that's showing that I've changed. And, you know, so this is just such a deep quote to me. And I'm still wrapping my head around how I'm creating my own reality and the change, you know, to be the change that I want to be the change that I want to see. I mean, there's thousands of expressions talking about change. And, you know, it's
Mhm.
just good. It's, you know, I don't know how else to explain it.
Well, you know, each one of us, we're always going into change. Change is something that is continuous, because we are continuously creating reality at every moment. There's not a moment where we are not. So consequently, in creating reality, which goes into infinity, then the whole concept of change goes into infinity as well. I remember once I said here on the podcast, I won't make the same mistake that I did last time, because that last time was when I threw up the finger. And, you know, and I said, oh my God, you know, so I'm not going to do that this time. But if I hold up this little finger, I've just, as soon as I do this, I've created a reality. See, people think reality is this huge, humongous thing I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to win the lotto. I'm going to, you know, create having a breast reduction that's, you know, that's to kill for, you know. But the thing is that every time I move my lips, every time I'm saying a word, every time I move my hands, that's reality. I've changed because now my finger's up, now my finger's down. So I've just changed my reality right then and there. You paint your house a different color, you've changed your reality. So it's a constant, steady flow that never, ever stops. Somebody asked me, they said, when do the lessons stop? I said, they don't,
They don't.
you know,
When
so
can I
just,
get off?
yeah, so lock yourself down and get ready because it ain't going nowhere, okay? You know, even when we pass into the transitional portal, or as some people call it, heaven, or however people, whatever nomenclature you use for it, if you haven't learned any lessons, you're taking them with you because that's your commitment. That was your commitment to change. See, isn't that interesting? That just dawned on me that when we're in the incarnation stage and we are choosing our parents, we're setting the stage for change right then and there. Right then and there. And at the incarnate stage, to go into the conceptual stage where the egg and the sperm come together, that's a change right there. So we're in, you know, you're 5 now, you know, 5 years from now, you're 10. That's change. So it never stops. Every cell in your body, look at there are specific cells that after 7 years, they replace themselves. I couldn't tell you right now which ones they are, but we know that. So it's constant. I'd like to move on to consciousness. Now, what's that?
Yeah, would be good.
That's
Could
all
we-
right. Don't be shy. Everybody speak up.
Could we use the word awareness there as consciousness?
For consciousness. Awareness. Ooh, now we're getting into something deep. Carol, you just took us into a deep place.
Like aware of your unconscious and lessons.
So
Because you
okay.
have to, you're being directed by your unconscious, but you have to have an awareness or consciousness to enact the change and the lessons to learn. Like Kathy said, what happened to her yet the other day, she said the old her would not have recognized what she created. Whereas now she does. She's consciously aware that she has made change.
So, so what can we add to that? When Carol said that the change is occurring, we're aware of the consciousness. Where is that?
It's everywhere.
Yeah, so where is everywhere?
Oh boy. Ooh.
The
I love
force.
it. I love
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna say the force. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that would be one thing that we could say, the force, because we know the force is everywhere and everything is a force. But now when you say consciousness, think about what we had in class yesterday. We were talking about what? Instead of, let me say it this way, instead of dealing with, we're in the 3rd dimension, we're in the 4th dimension, we're in the 5th dimension, what can we use instead?
We just are. We're in the
We
now.
are. We're
Yeah, but
everywhere.
now, but what is the now? It's a what?
It's a reality.
reality.
It's a reality.
And we're everywhere. We're everywhere at once, simultaneously.
Right.
And
It's
we're
just that
experiencing everyone's reality that they're creating, because that's us also.
Right. Because I was experiencing that man's reality, but I didn't really have to participate in it in a certain kind of way. I elected because I recognized, I was conscious of what was happening and what I had created. So therefore, I was able to, I guess the word is modulate my response and to garner the respect of the other women that were there. But a lot of people don't even know that they're changing. And it's sometimes, I don't know why, it just seems like some people just never change. And, you know, they just become so predictable. But then I'm separating myself from them. And, you know, when I'm conscious that I was one with that man, I was that man, just like I'm one with everyone here. Heck, I'm happy. Well, can I say I'm one, I'm the realm of beings too? Yes, I can. I'm gonna say I'm one with them. There's no separateness. And the change is inevitable, but whether or not you're conscious of whether or not you are changing, I lost my train. I got confused in my own brilliance that quickly. Oh my God.
That's all right. That's all right.
Thank you. So take it over, somebody else. But yeah, this,
What shows you where you're, go ahead, Leigh. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that, there's that pathway word in here. So Kathleen, sorry, you just, you created to choose another path, right? So instead of going down the path you maybe would have in another time been triggered to react in a certain way, now that trigger is not there anymore and you have a different vision of what you're seeing in front of you, right? So that allowed you to make a different choice and take a different path. And that led to your expansion, right?
And laughing at myself because I said, you wanted to experience this. So look what you created. And I had to laugh at myself. It was hysterical. I said, so now, did you like it? Nah. Well, actually, I didn't like or dislike it, to be quite honest with you. It was just an experience that brought home to me that I do create my own reality and that I changed.
Mhm.
That other people will see that.
And you shifted in such a way, like this is what we talk about every week, shifting your impression, shifting others' impressions, shifting perspectives. And as a result of that, tie it in right to infinity, because that what you may consider a small change in that moment, when you really dig deeper, you by shifting that, by responding rather than reacting from your old pattern or your own way of being, all those people that were present in that office, you made an impact on them,
including on the guy that called me chick.
Yeah, well, the guy,
because
and
he didn't
my
say
point
another
is
word.
that they took that lesson home. They were there for a reason, and then they, probably some of them are standing taller because of that and thinking, I can say something if I'm uncomfortable with somebody else's language. I can stand up for myself without, causing some sort of other drama unfolding. But yeah, you definitely, out to infinity, made an impression on other people with that change. So
Like a ripple effect.
good for
Right.
you.
Right. I would like that. I like that, the ripple effect, the ripple effect. But those are all little realities. And you could tell that in that situation in the doctor's office, whoever said, we're not chicks here, and everybody else rallied in that whole agreement. And that showed that the women then were loving themselves, because you might not say I'm divine, consciously say I'm divine, but yet all of us, I don't care if we're in prison, I don't care what our personalities have manifested, but we recognize our divinity inside of ourselves at some level or another. You know, some people might be at one level, somebody else might be at another level, but it's, when I say level, I want you to note that I'm talking about illusion.
Mm.
It appears that one person, this person over here is at this level. And then it appears that there's another person over here at this level. In other words, you're more spiritual. You're more spiritual because you go to church every Sunday, or you go to mass every Sunday, or you chant, whatever you chant, or you say Om every day. You know, you're more spiritual than that person that's standing on the corner with asking for a handout and is living a life of homelessness. And I think we talked about that once on the
Yeah, because
podcast.
that's separateness. And
Right.
what happened with me is, I guess I'm going to say, from my perspective, I went into more of a beingness. I went into more of, a oneness. And seeing that gentleman, you know, I said, well, I'm looking at what he's created. He's angry. He didn't have his medical cards. He was frustrated. And I said, well, that's his creation of reality, but I don't have to participate in it on that level. I accepted it and just moved on and left with a clean bill of health. So I don't know what his health status was. So, I just went into more oneness. Like I didn't see us as being separate. That's what I think was going through my mind. I'm not going to allow him to separate me. And I'm not going to separate myself from everyone else that was in that office. I guess I kind of, when I'm thinking about it now, that's kind of like where I kind of went.
Right. And it takes a while. I'd like our listening audience to know it takes a while to get there, because the first things that we've been taught at the conscious level is that I'm myself and I'm not you. I have nothing to do with you. You see, you're separate from me, or I don't like you because you're not praying to the same God that I'm praying to. All of that. And it takes a while to get past that, because it takes a while to learn how to love yourself, because when you hate somebody else, you're really hating yourself. That, because we're all one. So when you hate somebody, you literally hate yourself. That's why you don't want to go there. You really don't want to go there. The expansionness of your consciousness, to understand that, you are fully one with everything that exists. And I know we'll be going through that some more. But I was feeling, Carol, you want to say something? I don't know.
I was going to say, when you were talking about spiritual levels, as a substitute for that, would you perhaps accept openness, like someone being open to receiving the knowledge, like creation of reality? Because I've been studying metaphysical sciences for many decades. And up until I met Gretta and learned about creation of reality, I considered the universe to be outside of me. I did not understand that it was within me and that I am the universe. So I was at a stage in my life that I was open to receiving that knowledge and to expand my consciousness in that regards.
Right. I understand. I got you. For me also, learning that, I create my own reality, because I've often said, when Claudine said, well, you create your own reality. Girl, get out of here. Are you kidding? Don't tell me that. And I was in class with some other people. We rebelled. We rebelled against it. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that I created all that SHIT myself. See, I spelled it. I didn't say it. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I find funny, Greta, is when I preach, like, from my classes with you, how you share things all the time. If I say something, my daughter will chime in, hey, don't create my reality. Don't you create my reality. So I just find it so funny. I really find it amusing that the fact that she is thinking about that is a big change for her and for a lot of other people. Oh, creation of, oh, nope, I'm not going to create that. So I'm sharing the change because they can see the change within me because I'm being treated differently.
See, you get the outward experiences. See, we can attach that consciousness to that. The outward experiences. What outward experiences are we dealing with? It's like when I started the COVID experience and went through my journey with all of that. My daughter, first thing she asked me, she says, do you know how you created that? And I told her, we're going to talk about this in January, but I told her, I said, I have not the foggiest idea how in God's world would I have, notice in God's world, and that's my world, okay? So don't think I'm saying God outside me. How I could have done that. So, she says, well, you don't know? I said, I don't know, and I can't figure it out, Kai. And she said, well, I'm going to tell you how you create. And that's what she did. She ran it on down. She said, remember when you said so-and-so? I said, yep, there you go, mama. You remember when you said so-and-so? I mean, the girl led me all the way down, from the top of the post or from top of the mountain to the bottom. I said, oh my God, and that was much, much, much deeper. Is it timely for us to move?
Yes, we have been prompted that we can take a short break. And when we come back, we will have the realm of beings to weigh in and share their wisdom with us. So listeners, thank you for joining us today. We'll be right back. This is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings.
Good morning. Welcome back from our break. I'm Yvonne. I'm here today with Gretta, Leigh, the Realm of Beings, and two very special guests, Kathleen and Carol. And we are unpacking the quote, change is a pathway to your expansion and expression of consciousness. So yeah, after a long break, we are back live today, and we are grateful to be here and very grateful for our listeners. So second half of our podcast, the Realm of Beings weighs in on our quote. So Realm, are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Good. What have you to say about this quote today?
What word comes up with us is fear. And fear, we want to attach that word to change for some people. Some people don't refuse change because they have the fear of it. Can I change? Can I go from being with a person to being by myself? Can I go to school? Can I go after this career I want? See, change, because you got to change within yourself. Change is never outside. It may appear that things are outside, but things are never outside. Things are always internal. So when you get ready to say, I want to change this, it's not going to be outside. It's going to be inside yourself. And it's to have the strength to do the change. You know, you can talk about change until you're tired. And the only thing
Oh.
you're doing is talking about it.
What are people actually afraid of?
You could be afraid of almost anything, Yvonne, because you could have started off in your mother's womb, and your mother had a challenging time carrying you inside her womb. So she might have felt fearful. How am I going to take care of this baby? Not saying your mother was by herself, but let's say it's a single mother. How am I going to deal with this baby by myself? And I have no one to help me. That's a fear. You see, and fear keeps you from pinpointing the desire to make a change for yourself that you feel will be better. Notice that we're saying that you feel, you perceive that it will be better for you. Like, I'm going to move to Hawaii. It's going to be better there for me. So, but then you say to yourself, maybe I shouldn't go to Hawaii. I'll be leaving my family behind. I won't have anybody. I won't know anybody there. I've got to look for a job. You see, you make all those reasons why you can't do it. And that, for the fear, that makes you feel good. Because that, it's like putting shackles on your hands. Fear is a shackle. When you shackle yourself with it, then you cannot experience the type of change that you want to experience. But you'll change, all right, because if you're shackled and you're so fearful of it, what will you grow?
More fear?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you'll be changing, all right, but you'll be changing in a different direction. As Kathy said earlier, pathways, and Leigh said pathway. Yes, there is a multitudinous level of, I shouldn't even say level, of choices. Pathways are choices.
And
So,
possibilities?
right? The fear helps you to limit that, if you think of that as limiting. See, let's break it down. There's no good, there's no bad. There's no evil. There's only the isness of something. So even at a different level, there's no level. We just perceive it to be leveled. That is the illusions upon which we deal with each other and deal with ourselves with inside these realities that we create. Because you're not just creating one reality. You're creating realities while you're creating realities while you're creating realities. It's just at the conscious level, you're not necessarily aware that you've just created 125 realities simultaneous. You're not aware of that. You're only aware of, I did one thing. I did my homework. I created that reality. Or Another student, I didn't do my homework, created another reality, created other realities that go with that choice. So see, once you make a choice, you have other realities that go with that choice. And it's going to have a change. It's just what type of change do you want? It's going to change now. Just like we asked, and Carol said, fear. You know, if you're fearing something and you're fearing something, you're creating more fear. So that's a change unto itself, because the fear is getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper inside of you. Notice I didn't say outside, I said inside. And then it can get to the point that it can affect your physical body. Your physical body wants to show you, it brings it to the conscious level, that which you can see, feel, touch, smell, you see. But it's coming out of the unconscious realities that you are creating. So we have the unconscious realities assisting in creating the conscious realities. Do you see that connection? Isn't that wonderful? Unconscious realities we are creating help us, assist us in creating our conscious realities, some of which we want, some of which we say we wish we had never met or made decisions about that. I feel a question coming on. Anybody?
Well, I guess it must have been me, because I was looking up at the proverb, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And just the way it was, you know, I looked it up, also said turbulent changes do not affect reality on a deeper level other than to cement the status quo. Change of
Wait a
heart
minute
must
for me.
accompany.
Thank you. Go say the first one, please, again.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. And I said, I'm not sure if that's true for me anymore. And then the other part that explained it, it says
Hold that.
turbulent.
Hold that, hold it. Anybody else want to say something about that statement there? Say it again, Kathy.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. And I saw it as not being, to me, not being true anymore.
So, but, okay, so what can we say with that?
I think that statement expresses fear, whoever came up with that proverb, because most people are afraid to change because it's unknown to them. And there's another saying, the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown.
Correct.
And I personally have known many people who were in very, what I would perceive as horrible situations, being abused or, you know, in a situation that I would not want to be in myself. And they would have the opportunity to change that situation, and yet they chose not to because it was familiar to them.
Right.
So they did maintain the status quo, even though it wasn't a good place to be for them.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute now. It was a good place for them to be. Why?
I'm going to need an explanation, Realm.
Because they needed to have that experience for whatever reason, I think.
Still
What did
learning
you
the
say? There is-
lesson.
What'd you say, Leigh?
I said, whomever is choosing what we would deem as a not good experience, they're creating that for a reason for themselves. And they're creating to stay for a reason, for their expansion and expression of their consciousness, I guess.
They
And
don't
how
want to
they
change
Learn
either.
their lesson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The person has changed. See, everything everybody creates. Everybody, you create your reality at all times. There's nothing bad. If you know, it's only our judgment call. We don't need to use our judgments to judge anyone. But it is that these it's a lesson why are we here? We're here for lessons, including us. Don't exclude us from this. It's just that have different realities that we create. Yet we're here to learn to love ourselves as well. Don't put the realm of beings up on a pedestal now above the rest of you all. Everybody's equal. Everybody's equal. I want to say that a third time. I like that. Everybody's equal. I'm not better than another person or another individual. I'm not better. What I am is I am that person. I am that person. I don't need to fear that person, but you're going to want to move in wisdom. You know, I'm not going into a burning building to pick up my garbage that I left there this morning. You're not going to do that. That's moving in wisdom. You know, who wants to go? Because then you know the physical ramifications for going into a building that's burning up. You know, and then you're going to say, I want to get my garbage that I left there this morning. You know, people would begin to wonder. But that's a reality. If that's the reality, you want to go into that burning building to get the garbage that you left there this morning. That is your creation of reality. Now, you can go into that burning building, get your garbage, turn around and come right back out. You can go into that burning building, get your garbage, and not come back out. You can go into that burning building, get your garbage, and sit down. I mean, there's so many choices. And none of them is bad. None of them is good. It's just a choice. It's just a pathway. There's no bad pathway. There's only the isness of the pathway. And do you want to deal with that? Just a pathway. When you come to a pathway you don't want to deal with, because consciously on the conscious level, I don't want to deal with this, then don't deal with it. And what helps you not to deal with something you don't want to deal with? What helps you?
I just changed my focus and create something else I want to experience.
Right, but what do you have to do in order to do that?
Gotta think it.
Yeah, what else? It's a biggie. What do you have to do in order to focus in the realities that you feel secure in?
Love yourself unconditionally.
Absolutely. If I want to stay in an abusive situation, in a sense, at a different level of understanding now, I am accepting to keep myself in this abusive situation because I am learning from it. You see, that's why there's nothing either good or bad. It's this whole experience here is learning. And the one thing that you want to learn and to always remember is to love yourself unconditionally. Not to love yourself with conditions, but to love yourself unconditionally. Yes. So, change. What does it say, Leigh? Can you give us the quote again, please?
Change is a pathway to your expansion, and expression of consciousness.
Yeah. Change. I don't want this, I want that. You see, It's as simple as that. I want health, I don't want health. I want to experience COVID, I don't want to experience COVID. I want to experience being loved by another person unconditionally, and then defining what that is. Or I don't need that at this time.
Realm, I don't know if there's enough time to answer this question, but what's been going through my mind quite a bit lately, which precipitated my event at the doctor's office, is these are turbulent times again. And I'm looking at the reality that everyone is creating on a massive, massive level. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out, how do we as a country and as a planet of human beings create the changes, like the people, if they don't want to change because of the fear, how do we support getting them to not be afraid of someone that's different from you, to move away from that separateness? And it's like a constant barragement, and people are just getting, just reinforcing it more and more.
Be careful of what you just said, Kathleen.
Oh, I know.
You're going into what?
Sympathy.
And what else?
Separateness.
Separateness.
What else?
Nobody
stuff.
can affect another person. Everyone is creating their own reality.
Yeah.
That's right, but she
You
was
have to accept their creation for them.
absolutely. And what did you hear her verbiage, Kathleen's verbiage? It was eloquently spoken.
Yes.
But she was leaning toward what? The word begins with an S.
Separateness.
Separation.
No, you gave that to me. You.
Oh,
The
It
next
wasn't-
letter is A. V as in Victor.
Oh, saviorhood.
Thank you.
oh.
Thank you. Because see, you went to the collectiveness. Surely we can create collective reality. A good example is the Ukrainian war and the Russian war that they have going between each other. So that is a collective creation of reality that happens. However, when you are in that collective, you are still creating your own reality. It's like some people were in the Ukraine when the war started. But then some people said, I'm fighting the Russians. And some people said, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. So they didn't stay in that collective of let us stay and let us fight. They said, I'm going over here. So inside a collective, you can always, and not can, you always are individualistic in that sense of choice.
Realm, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. Kathleen, Carol, thank you for joining us on this podcast today. It was really nice having you.
Nice to
Don,
be here.
Greta, thank you. And most importantly, listeners, thank you for joining us today. This has been another episode of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want.
Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at transformationtalkradio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.